Hi, I'm Ree, and I'm a psychology teacher and examiner who creates revision resources to help all students with their A-level study. This revision video is looking at the processes of minority influence for the social change topic on paper 1. There are 3 processes named on the specification for minority influence: consistency, commitment, and flexibility. So the combination of these 3 enables a minority to influence a majority and leads to this process of social change. So consistency, first of all, is just the idea that the minority keeps saying the same thing, the same belief or opinion over and over again. And that way people start to listen because they think, well, if they keep saying it, they must have a point. There's 2 types: synchronic, first of all, where they're all saying the same thing, so everybody in your group are saying the same thing, and diachronic, which is over time, so they're saying the same thing on more than one occasion. If a minority group show commitment to their belief or opinion through the use of risky or extreme tactics such as protesting or risking arrest or even worse, it suggests to the majority that they must be really confident in their opinion and actually maybe that they're worth listening to. So then they might start to listen and take them more seriously and convert over to their viewpoint. Finally, flexibility refers to the idea that the minority can't be too rigid in their approach. They have to accept that there are different opinions, and sometimes we have to compromise in order to help people change their mind. That said, if they're too flexible, then they can be seen as inconsistent and therefore no one's going to listen to them. So they have to adapt their point of view while still accepting and giving their opinions as well. If the minority is successful in using those 3 processes, they start to form a little group. And that group gradually will influence other people and they'll start to join the group. We call this the snowball effect, where it gradually grows and gains more authority, and then eventually that group will go from being a minority to a majority. So we have a research study that we can use to support the role of consistency in minority influence, and that's by Moscovici et al. So in this study, they gave participants different slides to estimate the colour of. The slides were actually all the same colour, they were blue, but they were different brightnesses of blue. 2 of the 6 participants that they used were accomplices or confederates of the experimenter. There were 2 conditions, the consistent condition and the inconsistent condition. So in the consistent condition, the 2 accomplices or confederates called the slides green on all of the trials. This was obviously a wrong answer. The inconsistent condition, those accomplices called the slides green 24 times and the slides blue 12 times. So what did they find? Well, the real participants in the consistent condition gave in and called the slides green in 8.4% of the trials. 32% of those participants in the consistent condition reported a green slide at least once. That's nearly a third. However, in the inconsistent condition, they only called the slides green in 1.3% of the trials. So this demonstrates the importance of consistency in trying to persuade a minority group. So minorities can influence a majority in certain circumstances, and it shows how important consistency is in order for that to happen. We call this conversion, and we have to have conversion for social change to happen in society. Similarly, Wood et al. Did a meta-analysis of lots of different studies, 100 studies in fact, and found that minorities who were consistent were the most influential, again showing how important consistency is in minority influence. There was also a variation of Moscovici's study where participants were asked to write their answers down rather than saying them publicly. Interestingly, in this scenario, participants were even more likely to agree with the minority and change their answer. This demonstrates just how effective consistency can be in minority influence. However, to finish off, we can criticise Moscovici as it's a lab-based study. Therefore, it is artificial and it is contrived, which means it lacks ecological validity. Why? Because the task lacks mundane realism. Choosing colours of slides doesn't really have much bearing on how we live in the real world. It's not something that we do on a regular basis. And actually, if we were in a group and there was a minority trying to influence us about something that was a bit more important or personally relevant, we might find that we put up more of a fight when they try and change our opinions or beliefs. Also, the sample was gender biased, as it was all women. Some research suggests that men and women can vary in how they conform in society, and so we cannot generalise these findings to everyone. That brings us to the end of this revision video. If you found this video helpful, then hit subscribe for more revision help. And you can also find me on Instagram and TikTok for psychology related content. And of course, you can find a range of revision resources available at psychologywithre.com.